Hi, I'm Wanda from Alanda Craft, and in this video I'm going to do an overview of the ScanNCut DX, so let's get started. Let's start with the top of the machine. So we have our screen and our control buttons are now on this side of the screen, and the screen lifts up, simply lift it up like that, and you can just push it down to put it back into place. Now you remember that we had an accessory tray in the last version that sat behind the screen. That's no longer there. We now have this lovely piece here, which is our accessory tray for using our stylus. We can keep our pens and our spatula up here while we're working. On the back of the machine we have a label here that tells us our model number. We also have the power cable slot here, so that plugs in there, and this tray here has an indent and you just pull it out. Now that's to support your mat as it comes through the machine. Now on one side of the machine you have the USB port just here, and you also have this port here for connecting your ScanNCut to your computer. Now on this side of the machine we have a new function, and it's the scanner lever. Now when you're scanning thin materials you have it placed at number 1. If you're scanning thicker materials then you have it up at number 2. So let's come to the front of the machine. Alright, so we simply open the flap. We've got our accessory trays here. See that there? We've got a pouch in here. And we've got our pens stored in here. They're magnetic, so they close quite nicely. Now, let's take these things out of here. Now, apart from putting your stylus and your spatula up here, you can also store them here. And the machine will close with those stored in that little compartment there. Now, I'll just get the blade. We just want the standard blade. I'm just going to remove the cap. And the blade fits in over here. Slide it in as you do with your normal blades, the flat part to the back, and bring the lever down to lock it in place. Now this little button here is for when you're using the feed roller when you're doing long patterns, and it's an optional extra, but this locks it in place.
Okay, so let's take a look at the screens on the machine here. I've already turned it on, and what you always get is the splash screen here. So all you need to do is tap on it to get rid of that. And this message will appear every time you turn on the machine. So it's basically saying that the machine's going to get into the right position to start working. So we just click OK. Okay, and here's our home screen. So the home screen you can get to at any point by clicking on this button here. So that'll take you back here. And if you've got an older version of the machine, you'll recognise these two options. So we've got patterns and scan. You'll also notice we've got these two new options here, these little arrows. So when you click on it, you can see we've got more here. Now the roll feeder is optional. You may have got one included with your machine if you're lucky enough. If not, you have to buy that extra. But that's the option there. If you've got one of those, it allows you to cut rolls of, say, vinyl, that sort of thing. This option here, the not activated, at this point I'm not entirely certain what it is, but I have a feeling it's if you've purchased other things, maybe you've got the rhinestone kit and those sort of things, maybe they'll show up here. Okay, let's go back. And I'll come back to these in a minute. We'll just go through these. So retrieve data, if I tap on that, basically what these are, they allow you to bring in your own cutting files. So they might be ones that you've created yourself or maybe ones that you've purchased. So these are the ones that are stored on the machine. They're not the ones that are already stored in the machine already. These are the ones you might have added into the machine yourself. That's where you access them from. This is a USB, so you can put cutting files onto a USB and put it into the side of your machine and bring them in that way. This is the Wi-Fi function, so you can transfer them wirelessly from Canvas Workspace, which is the software that you use for this machine. And this option here is if you can get a cable, and you can plug the cable into the side of the machine and into your computer, so you can transfer them from your computer. Okay, let's go back. Now, where are we? We've got the test option here. So if you tap on that, basically this allows you to, basically what the name says, it allows you to test any new medium you might have. So just say you're testing vinyl for the first time, you've never used it before, you really want to do a test cut before you start cutting a major piece. You can see there's a tiny little, you might not be able to see it on the camera, but usually it just does a tiny little test cut in the corner, and that allows you to make sure you're not going to cut through your mat. So go back. Okay, let's come up and look at the patterns now. There's loads in this machine. Depends on the version of the machine as to how many you get. Okay, we'll just have a quick look at these. So there's your basic patterns. And you can see when you go into the patterns, you get more options. If these are highlighted, you can scroll through and you get loads more. Okay, we'll go back and we'll see some of the more sort of these patterns here. Just so I'll tap on that one. And you can see you get way more in there as well. And you get things like, you've got things like tags, okay, and frames. So there's plenty in here, plenty to choose from. Okay, all sorts of things, more fancy designs here. So loads to choose from. But remember, you can bring in your own as well. Okay, we've got words here. So, and again, I can scroll through different things. So they're already done for you. But remember that you can also create your own words with different fonts. That's a whole different story, but you can do that as well. Okay, you've got borders, you've got fonts and fancier things. I'll just show you the fonts. On this machine you've got 17 different fonts. But you can also use other fonts. You can use, if you're using Canvas Workspace, you can use other fonts as well. You're not limited to those. You can see here even more options like quilt blocks, for instance. If you tap on one of these, you get more again. So it's quite extensive what you can get in here. Go back. Okay, now the scan option here, if you click on that, you can see the three options there. If you've got an older version of the machine, you'll recognise those three options. So basically they do different things depending on what you're scanning through in the machine. If I move forward here, what this option here, transfer to Canvas Workspace, that allows you to transfer, if you've scanned something through the machine here and you want to transfer it to the software, so you can work on it on your machine, that's the option you want there. Okay, and lastly we'll have a look at the settings. Okay, and this is where you can make changes, so you can go from mils to inches, for instance. Really up to you what you want to do here, but there's all sorts of different options. Cut speed, pressure, draw speed, seam allowances if you're working with, if you're quilting, all sorts of different things here. And then if you register with Canvas Workspace, you can register there and get this all activated, and any other sort of additional things you've purchased will all be done here. Okay, so that's the basics of the machine. What we'll do is in our next video we'll go through selecting a pattern and cutting it through. So if you've enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more ScanNCut videos.